let's stay in the Premier League, and let's stay on the topic of managers.
Oh, okay.
Because for like the past year or two, the term Graham Potter has become like a buzzword for me. Where that last name of Potter is starting to get associated with like tactical genius, with next one up.
Innovation.
The new kid on the block.
Yeah.
And I've been keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
Right? I kind of just keep in my peripheral vision, seeing what he's been doing with Brighton these past couple of seasons and seeing that it's been really good, right? I've been pleasantly surprised. I'm like, okay, sure. There might be something there. Well, I saw the game of Brighton against West Ham.
Oh, okay.
Right. And Brighton, once again, got a sound victory over a West Ham team that is also off to a very, very disappointing
Bad start for
really
West
bad
Ham,
start.
man.
And while watching the game, I was like, man, let's look into this Potter guy. Let's do it.
Sure.
Finally, you know what? I'm going to give this guy the attention that...
Deep dive on Graham Potter.
Let's do a deep dive on Graham Potter. I'm like, where did he come from?
Yeah.
Right? Graham Potter, he coached in Sweden for 8 years. He started coaching in 2011, where he coached 4th division squad Ostersund.
Okay.
By 2015, he had them promoted to the 1st division.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
Dope.
First time in that club's history that they had ever been in the top flight. So huge. That's already that'd be if I was coaching, that's all I achieved.
That'd be pretty damn good.
That'd be pretty damn good. Did that in the World Cup's time, 4 years. Apparently during his time there, while he was coaching the Swedish squad, his antics and his way of coaching his team really became apparent in, I guess, footballing culture, with players stating that he would have them perform in theatrical and musical productions to get them out of their comfort zone and to improve their play on the field.
Oh, like not be in your head, essentially.
Yeah. The idea
just
of
be
being
free.
on a stage. Yeah. Because we've associated football to just
entertainment.
Man.
True.
And
they're entertainers, footballers.
So, fully dive into that role.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting stuff, right? They went to the top flight, and I think the 2 seasons that he was there, the first season they finished like in 8th place. Second time it was either 5th or 10th.
Okay.
But the biggest thing that they managed to do was they managed to win the League Cup in 2017.
Oh,
the
wow.
Swedish League Cup. And through that victory, they qualified for the Europa League qualification stages into the group stage, right?
Okay.
And so they had to win like 3 different rounds to get into the group stage, which they did.
Wow.
They go to the group stage, and they actually tied against Athletic Bilbao for first in the group. Athletic Bilbao had the better goal differential, so they got second. So Graham Potter's already in the Europa League somehow with this Swedish squad, right? Just guiding his boys there. They then get knocked out in the knockout stages of the Europa League by Arsenal, but they had won their first game against them 2-1. They then lost 4-2 in the next match.
Yeah, that's fair.
Happens. But it was through that performance that England came calling, right?
Come back home.
He was like, well, okay, let's get our boys back home. Yeah. You're right. Let's get them back home. Swansea specifically, in 2018, Swansea calls him up to come coach the squad that's in the championship at this time.
Right.
And during his time there, he didn't do anything overly impressive in the league outside of implementing a really influential playing style. There's a stat that during his time in the championship, Swansea had the most passes per 90 minutes in the whole league.
Okay.
So that kind of gives you an idea of like, okay, he was implementing a style of football.
Yeah.
The most fascinating thing he did there was that he took Swansea to the FA Cup quarterfinals, and they faced off against Manchester City, which you remember, this was a matchup that I remember talking to you about when it happened. They went up 2-0 on Man City. In the last 20 minutes, Man City scores 3 goals with the Sergio Aguero winner. Man City wins, they progress, but Potter once again.
Impressed. At the very least.
Did a lot with what he had, right? So Brighton comes knocking, right? They're knocking on the door. Hey, Premier League squad Brighton knocking on the door now. Hey, is Potter home? And Swansea, based off of this analogy, was like, no. Swansea didn't want to let go of Potter. They wanted to keep Potter. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
They actually saw him being a guy that could build this team over the course of 5 years or something.
Yeah, they saw the potential. And
wow.
And they even went so far as to offer Graham Potter the highest wage in the championship for a coach.
God.
Just begging him to stay.
So
but
then what happened?
I think Potter finally was like, hey, man, like, it's my time. It's my time to go. Right?
Yeah, Brighton, it makes sense. It's Prem.
Yeah. It's Premier League. He's done a lot of work leading up to this. And he, alongside all of his staff from the Swansea team, move over to Brighton.
Yeah.
And he joins Brighton in 2019. And what proceeds is pretty impressive once I looked into it. Their first season, they accumulated a record-breaking, franchise-breaking, club-breaking point tally of 41 points in the Premier League.
Okay.
And then they backed that by doing the same exact thing the following season. 41 points again. And then after that, the third season for Potter was this past season, where he once again broke the point tally record by accumulating 51 points throughout the whole season.
Well, Brighton had that hot start last
start.
year. And honestly, they started great this year. Man. Maybe even better. Maybe not record-wise, but I think they're actually playing better right now than they played last year.
And so that's what I'm getting at, is that just like that wizard from the fucking movies, Potter's the chosen one, man.
He can do no wrong.
He can do no fucking wrong,
do no
dude.
wrong.
I'm on board.
He hasn't. Yeah, you're right. He hasn't truly had a bad year in management.
Yeah, every year there's been progression. Every year he's been working towards something more.
Wow.
And I'm just like, when does it stop? You know, there's people talking about him potentially replacing Southgate either before or after the World Cup, but being the next big guy for England's national squad.
He'd look good coaching England, man. He'd look really good.
Or, you know, there was that opening with when Manchester United was looking for a manager. People were mentioning his name as well as potentially that team. But it's just interesting because you see how he started off this season. Brighton lost crucial pieces, man. Yeah. You would think to the average manager, those are big pieces. And Cucurella, Bissouma, just gone. And what he's done now with what he has, I mean, you can just see it in, like you said, like in how they play. Yeah. There's something special about the style of play and the way that each player just buys into the system. He maximizes their positions. He makes the most of them. And they just got this fight in them, man, because they do it to Manchester United. They do it to West Ham, and then they get a tie against Newcastle. Not a single loss yet, unbeaten. Mm-hmm. And it's just a great, great start. Yeah. And so I'm just like, man, hats off to you, Graham Potter, man. Like, I am on board. This guy's the next big thing for me, man. Yeah,
what has impressed me so much about Brighton has been their scouting. Getting Potter, and I guess credit to him because he does have a very specific style. He searches for very dynamic players, but he's on a budget. So he gets, for every dollar he spends, he makes the most out of it, man. Because the players that he has, Alexis McAllister, Trossard, Moises Caicedo now, who's finally coming onto the scene, and they had scouted him a couple years ago from Ecuador, which was
insane.
Insane to get.
He's only 20 right now, so that means he was like 17 when he was like, I want that guy.
Exactly. And he understood the potential. And he was there last year, like with the bench, never really got minutes, but now he's featuring starting every game. And that just shows you how good of a coach Potter is, because he doesn't waste time. If he wants a player, he brings him in, and he's going to be a part of that squad. Yeah. And then, you know, they had players like Marc Cucurella, Bissouma. Again, just great scouting system at Brighton. That's what's really impressed me, because they just get these players that are so dynamic, then play really, really well together, and it just fits this fluid style of football that Potter likes to play. And I'm so happy that it actually culminates into success. Yeah. Like, it's actually working. It's not like when Swansea had that one really good year in the Premier League, and they were playing fluid football, you know, dazzling, having, you know, high octane offensive football. And then it just really petered out like pretty quickly. But Brighton, man, they've been able to maintain a good level of play. And right now it only looks like they're getting better. And again, I guess credit to Potter, because that has to be what it is. Yeah. An excellent coach, and you're right. We got to start giving him more credit. Not that he isn't getting any, but let's give him that credit, and let's keep an eye on him for sure.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed, man. So impressed. And hey, I personally would like to see him in the England national squad. Yeah. I would like that to be his next move, man.
Yeah, that'd be insane. But I want to, low key now, I want to see what he could do with his Brighton team. Like, what is the peak
Right.
Peak Brighton. Is it like 5th place? Which would be insane.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be insane.
Any sort of top 6.
Yeah, any sort of top 6.
Invasion would be ridiculous.
And I just want to see him reach that peak with Brighton, and then he can go wherever the hell he wants to. I just want to see peak Brighton under Graham Potter. Show me what that looks like, and then I'll be happy.